WD18, the Watford Fans channel, here for match reaction after Watford's 2-0 win against Huddersfield at Vicarage Road earlier on today. It was an interesting game, really. 3 points is the most important thing at this moment in time, and we achieved that despite what was a relatively I think a relatively uninspiring first half, really. If we kind of go back to the start of the game, the team news, etc., being announced, it was a interesting bit of team news there as well for Watford. Of course, Troy Deeney and Tom Cleverley returning to the side after being rested last Saturday in the Cup. They, of course, came in 4-4-2 formation, which don't really think pleased a lot of people. I think my initial concern about that was the fact that we were playing Cleverley and Chalobah in the midfield, doing the two in the midfield, and for me, I just didn't think that was going to work. And I think that was kind of proven to be true in the first half, really. It was a very, very slow, lethargic performance from Watford in that first half. Nothing really happened. Couple of big chances. Pedro forcing a very good save of Ryan Schofield. Sarr as well, a good shot from him. Pretty routine save as well from Schofield, and that was really the best part of what happened really in that first half. I mean, Huddersfield, it was spoken about before the game, they had 12 players out today, like Sierralta Lighting, who of course has been a big part of their kind of rise and their good performances this season. Isaac and Benza wasn't available, Josh Koroma wasn't available, and a few others in there as well, which meant that actually they had a lot of their academy players, young players on the bench. A couple of them were actually starting today as well, and it looked very early on that Huddersfield were looking to settle for a point. They didn't even have a shot, I don't even think, in that first half. In actual fact, in the whole game, they only ended up having one shot on target. They were very happy to settle for a point, really. A lot has been made, of course, about the midfield and the attack, and for me, first half, we were devoid of any kind of creativity. There was no service going into the strikers. The midfield looked flat. Really, it was such an insipid performance, really. That was maybe summed up, frankly, by an absolute moment of madness just after the half-hour mark, because a seemingly just kind of normal passing out sequence from the back from Huddersfield. Leandro Bacuna on the ball, and an absolutely dreadful challenge by Troy Deeney on Juninho Bacuna. Just kind of summed up Troy's frustration and the fact that there was very little service coming into him. It was an awful challenge, and I think Troy is a very lucky boy to have still been on the pitch. I've watched it back. I thought it was a straight red. I think if we were in the Premier League, I think that goes to VAR and he gets a red, as the referee did actually give a yellow card for that. It was very sloppy by Troy. Absolutely, I was so baffled as to why he made that challenge. Nothing was on. It wasn't like it was, within like the final third. It was like Huddersfield were about to score or something. He had to make the challenge or something. But it was really, really sloppy. And again, just a kind of hallmark really of the first half. Not a whole lot going on. A lot of frustration. Some of that frustration you kind of creep in as well in the second half. Chalobah getting booked as well for a very needless kind of challenge. A little bit too aggressive at times. And the game kind of reached a very scrappy level, I thought, towards the end of the first half. Sierralta putting in a few challenges, who I should say for the most part actually played well, but the scrappy nature really suited Huddersfield, and they went in at half-time, with, having not conceded a goal, and also having kind of kept us relatively at bay. And then second half kind of came along, and we needed a moment in the manner in which we did. An awful back pass from Huddersfield into the path of Ryan Schofield, their goalkeeper. It was too short. Cleverly anticipated it fantastically well. Gets there ahead of the keeper and stabs it into the back of the net. And Watford Watford took the lead, and I'll be honest with you, I was absolutely baffled by that. Really, it was such a slow back pass to the keeper. I think the back pass has done the keeper very dirty there. I think a few people have kind of maybe said that it was the keeper's fault for that. I thought the back pass was horrendous, but Watford and us, fair play to us today. Cleverly had to anticipate that. He had to get there, and he did get there. And it was that little bit of anticipation. His work rate often goes under the radar, but he put in another very solid shift today for me. 2 goals in 2 matches for him as well. He scored in the last game before the FA Cup against Swansea. And listen, he gets his head down, he works. I think he's one of the players that actually just genuinely want to be here. He's a player that actually does get his head down, he does want to perform. And he did that today as well. I was very happy to see that from him. And then 10 minutes later, Watford double their lead. Great work by Kiko Femenir down that side. Ball comes into the area. João Pedro's there, 2-0. The look that Pedro gave Troy as well for the goal celebration was a good one. And look, it was a really kind of a very, I hate to say this word, I hate to use this word so flippantly, but it was a very championship style performance. Very stodgy, insipid first half. Second half, we improved our performance, we stepped it up a level, we got 2 goals and we got the 3 points, and that is all that really matters. Other results did go our way today. A couple of teams inside that top 6 weren't playing today because of match postponements, but we took advantage of that, and I'm incredibly happy that we were able to turn things around after what was a very poor first half. And so ultimately, of course, we did win the game today, a 2-0 win. Let's have a bit of a chat about some of the standout performers today and those who I thought maybe could have done slightly better. I thought my man of the match was... I think my man of the match is between 2 players today. I think the first one of those is João Pedro and the second one is Kiko Femenir. I think I will give my man of the match to João Pedro today, though, because as well as Kiko played, and Kiko's been fantastic this season. I feel like he gets a lot of praise. He gets he's kind of always kind of up there, even if we've not had a particularly great game, I always feel as though Kiko is up there as one of our best performers. But João Pedro, been out injured for a while, been sitting on the bench, must have been incredibly frustrating. I'd now go as far as to say, having watched him today, I think there's a good stat going around at the moment. I think he scored, I think it's 6 goals this season, 5 have come at Vicarage Road this season. But the majority of his goals have come at the Vic this season. I think we're now in a position where Pedro has to be starting every single game. And yeah, that means one of the other front 2 needs to make way, for now anyway, I think. And I think João should start against Barnsley on Tuesday night. I thought he put in a good performance today. He was quite unlucky, I thought, as well in the first half. He got to a couple of very decent chances in the area. One header, I think, in particular, that looked like the Huddersfield defender had it, but he hadn't. Pedro did very well up there. He was battling away. It was quite tough for him as well. He's coming back from injury and all that. And I'll be honest, I don't think he's naturally a striker either. So I think he's doing incredibly well up there. And I think for me, he gets the man of the match for me today. As I say, huge shout out to Kiko Femenir. I thought he was brilliant today. I thought Sierralta, once again, I'm mentioning the big Chilean at the back. He was awesome. Again, I say the word awesome. I don't think he'd want me to use the word awesome. He's very no frills, I think is the way I'd like to kind of describe it. And I put out a tweet about him last week, and all the Chilean fans were getting in there as well. And I had a few messages from Chilean fans saying that he is a quality player, and they were baffled as to why he wasn't starting, initially. But my God, what a great player he's turned out to be. 5th or 6th, as I said in the Man United reviews, 5th or 6th in line. He's come in, he's stepped up, and he's put in some cracking performances in. Again, another very solid performance from him today. Players today that I thought maybe could have done slightly better. I wasn't particularly sold on William Troost-Ekong. Really, I was surprised Ben Wilmot wasn't starting and didn't earn his place back in there again. Troost-Ekong, listen, he's a good player, but I personally wouldn't have dropped Ben Wilmot for him. But as I say, this is a long season. Troost-Ekong's got a long time. I just didn't think he really kind of didn't work out for him today. I thought he just looked slightly off it. And then, of course, up front, where it's just, we're all crying out, really, aren't we, for Stipe Perica. But from what I've seen so far, he's not really there, is he? He's injured. No real wording, no real kind of certainty about when he might return as well. I feel like Perica and João need to be starting games up front. I think that's just how things are going to work. And I would have liked to have seen Zinchenko start today as well, Will Hughes. But those guys, I'm sure, will get their opportunities. And I know I keep saying it, but it is a long season. And we've got another game on Tuesday night. Squad rotation is going to play a crucial factor. The fact that we have got players that can come in, that will be relatively fresh on Tuesday night, I think it's a huge bonus as well for us. But yeah, I think up top, João Pedro, Stipe Perita, they've at least got to start. I feel like those two have got to start, and then I feel like that we can kind of make a judgment based upon that. I think it's pretty obvious from some of the media that's been surrounding the club in the last week or so that we're not going to be bringing in any big players. I think it's going to be a very quiet transfer window for us, and I think Adam Leventhal kind of explained, the striker department is full, to actually use the words that he said in there. So it's got to be up to the guys that are currently in the squad. They've got to try and make it happen. They'll get given chances. There's no doubt about it. But I think João Pedro, Stipe Perita need to start matches for us moving forward, and Troy and Andre need to be content, at least for now, with sitting on the bench. Because Troy today, I mean, he huffed and puffed. Maybe that's been slightly unfair on him. He did win a few flick-ons in that first half. He kind of did run a couple of times, I think, at their defence, but it wasn't really enough. And I feel like he's constantly trying to find João Pedro, and that's again and again. With Troy or with Andre, whenever they're partnered up there with somebody else, it takes them a while to kind of get going, to get used to that partnership. The Troy and Andre partnership, we've seen it a couple of times. I think it's a bit ropey still at the moment, and I feel like João and Stipe should be starting up top, because it's a chance for them to kind of make something happen in there. I didn't think the João and Troy partnership was necessarily that bad. I just feel like something just kind of needs to change, and I'm not sure maybe if it is the guys who are starting up top. As I said at the top of this reaction video, I just feel like the midfield is so static, and ultimately, it's all about getting service as well. It was refreshing to see someone like Sierralta today actually running at a few defenders, looking kind of a little bit more interested. Still look quite exasperated as well at times, in fairness to Sierralta, but listen, there are always going to be 2 or 3 men on him, at any game. But I just want to see him get the ball, run at the defenders, get the ball, run, and use your pace, and ultimately try and find somebody as well in the middle. I want to see Phillips and Kanagal start as well, like I said. But it's that saying always goes, doesn't it? It's hard to change a winning team, and we have one today. I feel like we'll see a few fresh faces coming in though. For midweek. Big shout out as well to Dan Bachmann as well. First start for Watford in the Championship, in any kind of league game, and he kept himself a clean sheet today. It was a quiet evening for him, quiet afternoon for him, but he did very well. He's done nothing, again, just like in the Man United game, he's done nothing to harm his quest for first team football. And right now, if you're asking me, should he be given another chance on Tuesday night? Yes, he should be. Foster out with a finger injury. Don't know if that's true or not. Either way, Bachmann should start on Tuesday night. Let's keep this going. Tough matches coming up. Barnsley is going to be a really tough game. Valerian Ismail's done a fantastic job with that Barnsley side. I mean, they're now, at the start of the season, a lot of their fans were looking at whether or not they'd be able to avoid the drop. They're now looking up towards the playoff places. They're currently sitting in 10th. A win in midweek would take them just outside the playoffs again, depending on other results. It's going to be a really difficult game, and that's the side, again, that we lost to away from home. Can we do what we did, like we did today against Huddersfield, do the reversal and beat them at Vicarage Road? I guess we'll find out on Tuesday night. I'll be back for one of those. I'll be back for another reaction video after that game. And like I say, let's just hope we're celebrating another win. Let's keep this going. We've got a busy week coming up the next couple of weeks or so. Stoke at the Bet365 next Saturday is going to be another very tough game. We don't tend to fare that well against Stoke, but let's keep it going. Let's keep the positivity. And as always, come on, you Orns.